Welcome back to Legitimate Targets, everybody. I hope you're all having a great day. Joining me on today's episode is Marina Tauber, who is a ex-politician from Moldova. She was essentially forced out of government for simply wanting a sovereign and free Moldova. And I think this is becoming a pattern that we're seeing in the EU, whether it's in Romania, whether it's in Germany or Moldova, as we saw in the recent elections, which we discussed with another party leader a few days ago. The EU does not want democracy; they want to silence all dissent. And well, our guest today doesn't have any less experience with that than anyone else. So, Marina is again an opposition politician from Moldova. She was the vice president also of the Shore Party, which was an opposition party that was forced out. And she was sentenced in absentia for 7.5 years prison, $12 million USD in fines for simply having the wrong opinion. So, Marina, thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing?
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor for me. I'm good, and I continue to fight for our country and for our people.
What do you make of these recent elections in Moldova? Because it looks like it was just absolute fraud, silencing of opposition yet again. But I don't even know if Sandu, if her party, if they won the election. It seems like there's a lot of discrepancies out there.
Yes, you are right, and everyone sees it. There were many figures that cannot be proved, so they just draw some of the results. And we have seen it very concretely in different regions. So with all the pressure, with all their administrative resource, with all their possibilities, with all the support from European leaders, all the funds and etc., they have failed. They have a very weak result. And what they have done, they were just putting a pressure on the people for them not to go out and to vote. They were censoring mass media. They were arresting the opposition politicians and all the people that have had another opinion. So that was they were doing. And we cannot even call what has happened on 28th of September the elections. These were not elections. Maia Sandu and PAS just got these places in the parliament by all these methods that I have mentioned.
And when you look at it, you know, Sandu excluded these parties from participating under the guise of saying that they're funded by foreign entities or backed by foreign entities. But I mean, isn't it hypocritical that all these EU leaders that support Sandu were intervening in the election? There's the story with Pavel Durov and Macron trying to silence critics of Sandu on Telegram. Shouldn't she be the one who's locked up in prison for accepting this foreign support?
Yes, you are right. And as well, and material support, because again, we have seen already for many times, not only during these elections, that the grants and European funds were accepted in the full campaign by Maia Sandu and PAS. And this is a simple interference in the affairs of the sovereign and independent country, Moldova. So what they are trying to tell that we have done, that we were doing, actually they are guilty in these facts. The only thing is that they are in power and that they are trying to silence everyone who has another opinion, who is stating that it's good to be friends with Russian Federation, that we are not going to have some benefits from the cooperation with the European Union, and the people that are, of course, are against of NATO cooperation and of everything what is going on with the militarization facts in our country. So these people, like we are becoming enemies. They are becoming criminals. They are getting sentences like I have and my colleagues, Evgenia Gutsul and our other friends. This is the way how PAS is working. But a big problem is that we're not talking now about a Moldovan party who is taking with power the authority. We are talking about the European Union, who is doing all these things on the territory of a sovereign and independent country. So they are taking the power with force, without the will of our people. This is nothing, it has nothing to do with the democracy. It has nothing to do with the rule of law. And all these beautiful stories of success that the European leaders and European representatives are telling in our country and in the other countries as well.
Why do European leaders care so much about Moldova? Because obviously the media, you know, it's not an attractive story. It's not a breaking news headline to cover what's going on in Moldova any day of the week. You don't hear it on CNN, but the European leaders were extremely consumed in making sure that they got the correct outcome in this election. And does it relate to Russia? Prednistrovia or Transnistria? What factor does this play in that calculation that they're making?
Everything is very simple. Everything is about Ukraine and the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So they need our territory and they want to influence our decisions as a country. And all of these steps within the militarization strategy, of course, they are related to the relationships with Russia. And the European Union doesn't care about our people because they don't care that our people have to pay very big amounts of money for gas, for the communal services, and etc. They are coming. They are stating and declaring nice slogans, words, and etc. And they are continuing to provoke the conflict between Moldova, I mean official Moldova, officials, I'm not talking now about our people, and Russian Federation. Instead of helping us with something, because even when we are discussing the grants and this European Union support, where is it? I'm not sure if you have been to Moldova, but we're inviting you to see our roads and to see the lack of the simple development what our country needs. Where are all these funds, all these millions, hundreds of millions of dollars and euros that are coming for the infrastructure, for different initiatives in justice, in social sphere, and etc. Where are they? The Moldovans are living very poor. So why these European guys, when they're coming, why they're not asking us Moldovans, look guys, why do you live so bad? We are giving you so much money. Where are this money? We know where are they. They are in the pockets of Maya Sandu, of the governing guys. And again, a very bad story that European Union official representatives don't care that this money are stolen, that they are nowhere. No one sees them. So about which care, about which support we can talk. They just need us as a territory, as a labor force, as a possibility to influence the relationships with Russia and as a NATO outpost.
When you look at Transnistria, there's so many similarities between, the ethnic Russian region of the Donbass, what Ukraine did to that, what NATO, the EU did to those people for so many years, and what I think they want to do to the quote unquote pro-Russian breakaway region of Transnistria, of Moldova, as they dub it. Do you think now that they've secured this election victory through fraudulent means in the parliament, do you think that they could possibly take action, the globalists take action on Transnistria? And what do you think that would look like for the people living in Transnistria?
I think it's a very delicate question because, of course, the representatives of the European Union have, let's say, all the cards now in their hands. They can proceed how they want because Maya Sandu and their majority in the parliament will do everything what they will say. And of course, they're not going to take care about the interests, about the feelings of the people that live in Transnistria, in Gagauzia, in general in Moldova. And they don't care what the opinion policies are telling them and to all of us that Moldovans doesn't want war. They don't want any conflict. We're a peaceful, neutral state, and we should remain like this. And all these provocations and all the aggressive steps, especially with regards to the Transnistrian territory, of course, they understand what they are doing. And what we have noticed as well, that they are leading us according to the Ukrainian scenario. So we can wait from them everything, especially after the elections, let's say elections, these were not elections, but they have took place. And today, I'm not sure if you know, but today was the first parliament sitting and the new members of the parliament, let's say, have started to work.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things that and many people reported on in the fake elections was expats of Moldova were voting in foreign ballot stations were greatly limited. I think their votes were just not counted in many instances. You can look at the polling stations, some of them in Italy, obviously Russia. There was also at least two instances of U.S. citizens, Clean Greston and Steve Gill. They were barred from participating in the elections, despite the fact that they are dual citizens of Moldova as well. Do you think that this is, obviously we know why they're barring Russians, but the U.S., do you think this is in response to the shift in relations recently with the Trump administration, Trump cutting off U.S. aid to countries like Moldova, for example? And do you think these relations are going to continue to sour so long as Trump is seeking, I guess, peace with Russia?
Yes, we do see that after the elections in the United States of America, the relationships between American administration and Moldovan official representatives is not as good as it was. Because we do hope that U.S. sees what's happening in Moldova, in Romania, and what the European Union is trying to do in different countries. So just is searching for the influence. And of course, we do agree that USAID is the criminal group. And this criminal group cannot act on the territory of our country, and we think in the other countries as well, of course. Yes, we understand that now Maya Sandu and PS are completely doing what the Europeans is telling, because they don't see and they don't feel anymore the support from the US. And for them is much easier and is much more comfortable to work within different processes in the European Union countries, because when we're talking about the voting day, the election day, there were massive falsifications as well, and on the European polling stations. And there, when they have a good agreement, a good cooperation with the government of that country, they can continue to draw this result and to falsificate them and to do to proceed with different violations in order to have the result what they want. And of course, they have had a very big expectation, namely from these international polling stations, so from the European countries, especially when they have limited the people that live in Russian Federation to vote only within 2 polling stations and only in Moscow.
Given all of this, what do you think the true level of support for Sandu and her party is in Moldova? Because the past 2 elections, it seems like Sandu's party has miraculously gotten just above the 50% threshold each time. They just magically get the correct number by scratches and hairs. And also, Sandu was saying, I think on election day, early in the day, or maybe the day before, she was saying we might have to annul the elections like they did in the first round of voting in the Romanian presidential election. So how many people do you think actually support Sandu?
I think not more than 10 or 15%. And they have lost a lot in their ranking from 2021, because in 2021 people were believing in this idea, in this European Union story, and they were believing that Maia Sandu will come and will change something, but they have seen very good that nothing is changing and actually is getting worse. So 10-15%. All the other votes and all the other percents were just drawn, as I have told already, were falsified. There were different manipulations, and of course they are trying to get these results by limiting the people that have another opinion to vote. It is again about Russian Federation and 2 polling stations, and it's about the pressure that was put on a lot of people in order to try to explain them that they are doing something criminal if they want another vector for the country. So that was their path. That was what that is their, let's say, rule, and this is how they are fighting with the concurrents. So they are not winning; they're just trying to destroy the opponents by different methods.
We started off this conversation by talking about what's going on in many countries in Europe, and I only listed the most, I guess, egregious examples. But we see instances of people being silenced in countries all across the European Union and outside of the European Union, but still in Europe. Walk me through what happens when the globalist overlords that the puppets of, Ursula von der Leyen, when they tell you that you're no longer allowed to participate. What happened when they said, we're going to arrest you, we're going to give you a sentence? I believe they put you under house arrest and also gave you this massive fine. It's just insane. But what were the steps they took initially, and what was your reaction?
I'm used already to this, because when PS and Maia Sandu came to power in 2019 when they have started and they have continued with the absolute power in the country. I have been arrested for many times. We have been withdrawn for many times from the elections. And why it has happened? Because they were trying to blackmail our president, our leader, Mr. Ilan Shor, to silence us, not to protest, not to explain to the people that what they are doing is not right and it's not good for our country. There are not going to be some benefits. So their condition was for us to stop our opposition, real opposition activity. Of course, our leaders said no. And after these, there were many steps from their side to silence us. Around 100 arrests in 2022, in summer of 2022. Then it was the ban of the party shore. And actually, you know, I wanted to mention that I'm not ex-vice president of the Shore Party. I will always be the vice president because this party lives in our hearts, and we're sure that we will restable it in the European Court. So this is something what we have understood for us, that's how our life will look like for the next period of time. If we want to fight with these people, with the European globalists, and this is what is happening. And as I have written on my pages when I have got this sentence, look, I'm proud of it, because if they are afraid so much of us, and they're afraid of our fight, that means that we're on the right way and we're doing the right things, and we are the people that are representing an active opposition. And our fellow citizens, of course, do see this. And this fight is important for our country to stay independent, sovereign, and not to become a colony of the European Union. That's what they want. So
Marina
our
Tauber.
fight is not for politics, is not for functions. Our fight is for our country and in order to save it.
I couldn't agree more. And I wish you all the best of luck in that fight. And
thank you very much.
It's very, very harrowing what you guys are going through in the EU. But I hope for the best. And I think that one day it will come, because you can't just trample on the rights of the entire European population. At some point,
you are right. We are sure that
swing.
We will be able to save our country. And thank you very much for your interest on what is going on in our country.
Thank you.